Hello guys, this is my channel, my first video, Grow With Me in Christ, also with friends, YouTube series of my journey with the Lord. So we'll just get right into it. Episode 1, we'll be talking about the breakdown of Exodus 1, explained by me. I'll be speaking and starting on this topic due to how this pertains to Israel and the people of God. With this, I'm not stating that the act of war initiated by both sides is right. I'm not a big fan of the authoritative figures such as the ones who caused all of this. The only figure that governs my life and choices is Jesus Christ. Exodus, this speaks of the descendants of Joseph and Jacob, the children of God of Israel. This chapter explains how the Pharaoh oppressed the descendants of Jacob and his sons as they grew exceedingly in number. He was afraid of a rebellion and conspiracy in the nation of Egypt. Exodus 1, 8 through 10 states, Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing, came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous, and if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country. This shows us how the enemy fights or must go against the kingdom of heaven. In these verses, we should keep in mind the word must. The Hebrew word for must is chayav, which means a strong obligation to do a certain action all the time. And the enemy, they use this sin as a carrot on a stick method to keep the nations and populations occupied on a goal of, while using fear as a beating stick to keep the people in line. Be it money, drugs, parties, lust, non-godly based self-improvement, i.e. you could save yourself. Ways that they use fear is through social media, the news. They dictate what we watch, what the population watches. That'd be mass murders, wars, different crime. They just like to keep it in a bubble of confusion. Later on in Exodus 1 through 12, but the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. We see God's promise coming into fruition, the promise to Abraham to make him into a great nation and people. We also see that no matter what the enemy's schemes are, they never prevail. The Lord multiplies his nation and peoples from within the storms and enemy's camp. This includes us, not just the Israelites, but us, the Gentiles, as well. Then in Exodus 1, 15 through 16, the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah. Excuse me, I'm not very good at these names. I really didn't like reading Genesis because of that. I was always confused with the names. I don't know if you guys can relate, but let's get back to it. Exodus 1:15 through 16. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, let her live. We see yet another scheme of the enemy here, as the king commands the two midwives of the Israelites, Shiphrah and Puah, to kill every child of the Israelites who were born male. We see that the enemy has no shame, or that any scheme is too low or cowardly to use to promote his agenda. But as we see in Acts 5:29, which says, we must obey God rather than man, the midwives disobeyed the king and remained righteous and loyal to the Lord and to the nation. We see this in Exodus 1:17 through 18. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? We then see the results of patience and obedience of the midwives in Exodus 1:20 through 21. So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. This shows us how the Lord keeps his promises and how he rewards those who listen and obey and fear his commands and fear the Lord. And this is backed by Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 2. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands, all these blessings will come on you and overtake you. This chapter then ends in yet another scheme of the enemy, seeing as they must, or chayav, complete the goal of destroying the nation of Israel and impeding the long lineage of Abraham, which leads to David, then to Mary, and then to Jesus Christ of Nazareth and the people of God. PSA, we are seeing this happen in real time in America, Africa, China, and especially Israel. We see how those called upon the Lord are being persecuted in the fight against the enemy. And we see this with recent major Islamic movement in New York and other countries. The Christian persecution by Islamic extremists in certain areas of Africa, such as Ghana, Uganda, and many smaller countries who don't get media attention or aren't able to show what's happening. While in China, the Bible has been reformed by their communist government with certain pages and verses completely eliminated. I don't have any problem with any political party such as communist or democratic or republican. I choose to identify and represent Jesus Christ of Nazareth, my King and Lord, only ruler of my life. I understand that a society needs structure, such as a government, we are making and are given laws that govern the majority. And by this, I'm not trying to say that all political parties or all of them, the majority, have good things and bad things. I'm not picking and choosing which one is better, but there isn't any type of government whereby created by a human may function as a utopia other than the kingdom of heaven made by God. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. Please share, like, and comment so we are able to reach as many people as possible. Thank you again. If you see any errors in this video, please comment. I'd like to learn, love to learn. Share any ideas you have with me, any topics that you guys would like to get into, anything. Thank you. If you want to join me in growing with Christ, please subscribe. We'll be friends and brothers and sisters in Christ. God bless you, and join me next time.